Hello, I am Sage Moore, and if you'd asked me 3 years ago where I thought my life was headed, I never would have imagined I'd be sitting here in my own beautiful home, finally free from a family that treated me like their personal ATM machine. But let me start from the beginning, because this story is about how I learned to stop being a doormat and started living for myself. My mother posted a photo in our family group chat. There was my sister Emma sitting in front of an elaborate feast, 9 different dishes and a steaming bowl of soup, all her favorites spread out before her like she was dining at some fancy restaurant. Mom's caption read, "A special feast for my precious daughter, wishing my little princess success with her live stream tonight." The very next second, she sent me a private message with a payment request link. "Sage, this month's household money is due. Your sister has been working so hard with her streaming lately. She needs all the extra nutrition she can get. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Share your advice below and subscribe to see how my story continues." And then, I made a decision that changed everything. I stared at my own dinner, a sad bowl of instant ramen noodles, then looked back at that glaring payment request on my phone screen. Without saying a word, I took a photo of my newly obtained certificate of financial independence and sent it to her. "Mom, starting today you and your golden child can pay for your own fancy meals." "Sage, you think you are too good for us now, don't you?" My mother's phone call came through almost instantly, her voice shrill and cutting, so sharp I could picture her twisted expression even through the receiver. "Preparing some decent food for your sister, and you have a problem with that? Are you even her sister anymore?" I picked up a forkful of my noodles, slurped them down slowly, feeling the cheap sodium burn in my stomach. "I don't have a problem with it." "Then what is the meaning of sending that independence certificate? Are you cursing us to die so you can claim your inheritance?" My father's voice joined in from the background, muffled and disappointed. "Sage, how did you become like this? We're so disappointed in you." I replied calmly, "Starting today my salary is for my own use. Your living expenses are no longer my responsibility." "Not your responsibility. Everything you eat and every place you sleep comes from this family. Your sister works so hard every night streaming to become an influencer, how exhausting that is. And you won't even help her. Don't you have a conscience?" I almost laughed out loud. The food I ate consisted of their leftover scraps. The place I lived was a house whose down payment I had largely covered, with monthly mortgage payments automatically deducted from my salary card. Meanwhile, my sister Emma lived comfortably in the largest, sunniest master bedroom because, as she put it, good lighting made her skin look radiant during her streams. And me, I was stuffed into the smallest storage room facing north. Their reasoning was that since I left early for work and came home late, I did not need sunlight. I was done arguing about any of these things. I had been arguing for over 20 years. That was enough. "I'll say it one more time. I will not give you any more money." I hung up immediately. My phone started buzzing frantically with calls from my mother, my father, and my precious golden child sister, one after another, in endless rotation. I declined every single call, then blocked all 3 of their numbers. The world became peaceful instantly. My noodles had gotten soggy, but somehow this felt like the most satisfying meal I had eaten in over 20 years. After finishing my meal, I opened my laptop and began organizing years of bank statements and transfer records. Every single payment I had made to the family, every utility bill I had covered, every purchase I had made for Emma's streaming equipment and luxury items. I marked each transaction clearly one by one. This was what they owed me. I used to think that as family members, we did not need to keep track of such things. Now I understood they had never considered me family at all. I was just a tool that could earn money and fund their comfortable lifestyle. My phone lit up with a text from a new number requesting to be added as a contact. "Sister, it is Emma. Don't be angry with Mom and Dad anymore, they're just looking out for me. Please transfer this month's household money to Mum. I have an important ranking competition next month that requires some financial investment. Once I become famous and successful, I'll pay you back double. I looked at this message with a blank expression and typed back, ask your biggest supporter for the money. He should have more than I do. I hit send. The system showed that I was not her contact. She had immediately deleted me after I refused her request. How principled of her. Too bad that principle was not applied to becoming self-sufficient, but rather to throwing tantrums with her ATM sister. The next morning, I went to work as usual. Just as I reached the company building, I saw my mother and father blocking the entrance. My mother's eyes were ringed with dark circles, and the moment she spotted me, she rushed forward, reaching out to grab my hair. You ungrateful wretch. We raised you all these years, and this is how you repay us. I stepped aside to avoid her, looking at her coldly. You only gave birth to me. You never raised me. After I turned 18, I never spent a single penny of your money. You are lying. My mother's voice got even louder as she pointed at my nose. You live in our house, you eat our food. Doesn't that count as money? I pay the mortgage, I pay the utilities, even the money you used to buy Emma's designer bags came from me. Tell me, what exactly have I taken from you? I spoke each word clearly and distinctly. Colleagues were already gathering around us, pointing and whispering. My father's face flushed with embarrassment as he came over to pull my mother away. Enough, stop making a scene here. My mother shook him off violently. I am making a scene. It is this unfilial daughter who is embarrassing us. Sage, I am telling you right now, if you don't hand over your salary card and move your residence registration back, you'll never have peace. She was threatening me. Using my most valued possession, my job, to threaten me. Unfortunately, she had miscalculated. I pulled out my phone and dialed the security office directly. Hello, security. This is the main entrance of Building A. There are 2 people causing a disturbance and disrupting company operations. Please come handle this. Both my parents were stunned. They probably never expected that their previously obedient daughter would be so ruthless. Security arrived quickly, 2 tall, imposing men stood expressionlessly in front of my parents. Folks, this is a business area. Please don't shout here and disturb other people's work. My mother instantly exploded like a lit firecracker. What are you doing? This is my daughter. I am disciplining my own daughter. What business is it of yours? As she spoke, she tried to push the security guards. My father stood to the side with a dark expression, wanting to help but not daring to interfere. I said calmly to the security guards, I don't know these people, they're harassing me and attempting to assault me. Thank you for your help. You don't know us? My mother's voice reached a pitch that could almost pierce eardrums. Sage, say that again. You heartless beast. The security guards stopped wasting words with her. They grabbed her arms from both sides and started dragging her away. Sir, please cooperate, another guard said, blocking my father as he tried to help. A complete spectacle unfolded at the company entrance. I stood in place watching their undignified behavior, feeling absolutely nothing inside. I knew that by tomorrow I would become the laughingstock of the entire company. But so what? Compared to the 20+ years of suffocating oppression I had endured, a little gossip meant absolutely nothing. Only after they were dragged across the street by security did I turn and walk into the company building. In the elevator, I encountered Janet from my department. She looked at me with concern. Sage, are you okay? Were those really your parents? I nodded. Yes, how could they treat you like that? I forced a smile but said nothing. As soon as I sat down at my workstation, the department manager called me into his office. Sage, I heard about what happened with your family. Manager Johnson said with a serious expression. I am sorry, Mr. Johnson. I apologize for the negative impact this had on the company. He waved his hand dismissively. This isn't your fault. I called you in to ask if you need any help from the company. Legal support, perhaps, or a few days off to handle your family affairs. I was somewhat surprised. I had expected him to think poorly of me because of this incident, maybe even encourage me to resign. But that won't be necessary right now. I can handle this myself. Good, he nodded. The company isn't heartless. We judge employees by their ability and character. We've all seen your performance over these past few years. Focus on your work and don't let these messy situations affect you. I felt a warm feeling in my chest. So fairness and human decency did exist. They just didn't exist in my family. I threw myself into work wholeheartedly all day. Near the end of the workday, I received a message from my lawyer. Miss Moore, regarding your parents causing a scene at your workplace today. I've already collected evidence. This can be used as proof of their psychological harassment against you. Also, the legal notice demanding they repay the amounts you covered for them was officially sent out today. I replied, thank you very much. After work, I did not go home. I could no longer bring myself to call that place home. I found a hotel near the company and checked in temporarily. After a hot shower and changing into clean clothes, I felt like I had come back to life. That evening, Emma sent me a text message. This time it was not a contact request, but through the family group chat. Apparently after I blocked them, my mother had added me back to the group. Emma sent a photo. My mother was lying on the sofa with a towel over her forehead, looking pale and weak. Sister, Mom is sick because you upset her. She has a high fever that won't break. Please come home and see her. The doctor says if this continues it could be dangerous. Accompanied by several crying emoji faces. If this had happened before, I probably would have softened. I would have immediately taken a taxi home, stayed by her bedside, served tea and water, then compromised again under my mother's tears and accusations, handing over my salary card. But today, looking at that photo, I only felt it was ridiculous. I opened my phone's food delivery app and found a pharmacy near our house. I ordered fever reducer, anti-inflammatory medicine, and a thermometer. The delivery address was our home, with Emma as the recipient. Then I took a screenshot of the order and sent it to the family group chat. I've ordered medicine for you, it'll arrive in 30 minutes. Have her take her temperature and follow the instructions on the medication. After sending this message, I left the group again and blocked them once more. The whole operation was smooth and effortless. I would never go back to that so-called home again, unless they returned everything they owed me. The next day, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. It was my uncle Benjamin. Sage, it is your uncle. Your mother tried calling you yesterday, but you didn't answer. She is nearly worried sick. My uncle's voice sounded very tired. How can you hold a grudge against your parents like this, child? They're only looking out for your best interests. The same old rhetoric. I interrupted him. Uncle, if you have something to say, just say it. If it is about money, I don't have any. There was silence on the other end of the line. Sage, your mother really is ill. Yesterday when you had your sister buy those medicines, she refused to take them, saying you don't care about her in your heart, and that you have to come see her in person before she'll take anything. Then she shouldn't take them, I replied coldly. How can you say such things? That is your mother. My uncle's tone became agitated. She is lying in the hospital right now, and the doctor says if her fever doesn't break, it could develop into pneumonia. You need to come over right away. The hospital. My heart skipped a beat. They were really going all out with their fake illness, even getting hospitalized. Which hospital, which room? I asked. My uncle immediately gave me the address. I requested a half-day off from my manager and took a taxi to the hospital. I was not being soft-hearted. I just wanted to see what kind of game they were playing now. When I reached the hospital room door, I did not enter immediately. The door was slightly ajar, and I could hear my mother's vigorous voice cursing from inside. That ungrateful brat. Raised her all these years and she won't even come to the hospital. When she gets here, just watch how I deal with her. My father's voice replied, "Keep your voice down, or the nurses will hear you." Uncle went to make the phone call, didn't he? She should be here soon. Then came Emma's sweet, affected voice. "Mom, don't get upset. Sister is just confused for the moment. When she comes, I'll talk sense into her. She loves me the most, she'll definitely listen to me." Listen to you? She won't even listen to me anymore. This is all because you spoiled her. All day long, it is just livestream this, livestream that. If it wasn't for your precious face, would a family need to spend so much money? Would your sister be fighting with us like this? Mom, how can you say that about me? I stream to make money too. Once I become a big influencer, our family won't have to worry anymore. Wait for you to become a big influencer, that'll be the day. Look at your earnings this month. It is not even enough to buy one set of skincare products. You know how much your sister makes in a month? How much do you make in a month? Don't you have any sense? Outside the door, I heard everything crystal clear. So in their hearts, I was just a money-making tool with better earning capacity than Emma. And Emma was the investment project with temporarily poor returns but future potential. I pushed open the door and walked in. The three people in the hospital room instantly fell silent. My mother, lying in the bed, immediately put on a weak expression when she saw me and started moaning. "Oh dear, my head hurts so much. My chest feels tight too." Emma immediately ran over, trying to grab my hand. "Sister, you finally came. Mom." I shook off her hand and walked directly to the bedside, picking up the medical chart from the nightstand. Acute upper respiratory tract infection. Temperature 37.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Doctor's orders: drink plenty of fluids. Get rest, take oral medication. Not even serious enough to require an IV drip. I slammed the medical chart down on the table with a sharp smack. "Mum, with a temperature of 99 degrees you are dying." My mother's face instantly changed color from pale to flushed red. What kind of attitude is this? I am sick and instead of comforting me you are making snide remarks. What attitude? I laughed coldly. I bought you medicine, you wouldn't take it. I came to see you and you are putting on this performance. What exactly do you want? Just tell me directly. My father stood up, pointing at me. Is this any way to speak to your elders? You've completely lost control. Elders, I looked at him. A father who only knows how to exploit his daughter to pay for his younger daughter's lifestyle. You think you deserve to be called an elder, you? My father trembled with rage. Emma was still trying to smooth things over from the sidelines. Sister, don't be angry anymore. Mom and Dad are getting older. Just apologize to them, move your registration back, give Mom your salary card, and we can all be like before. Wouldn't that be nice? No, it wouldn't. I looked at her, speaking each word clearly. Emma, I was stupid before, but I don't want to be stupid anymore. If you want the good life, if you want fancy meals, fine. Go earn them yourself. After saying this, I took out a copy of the legal notice from my bag and threw it onto my mother's blanket. This is a legal notice from my lawyer. It clearly states that you need to repay a total of $587,600 that I've paid on behalf of this family since I started working. If we don't receive a response within 3 days, we'll see you in court. My mother grabbed the legal notice, looked at it for a moment, then suddenly sat up, no longer showing any sign of illness. $587,000, Sage. You've lost your mind. You are obsessed with money." She waved those papers around, trying to tear them up. I stepped back to avoid her attack. "That is a copy. The original is with my lawyer. Tearing it up won't help you. Let me tell you all something, every penny of this money must be repaid, otherwise, I'll apply for court enforcement to seize your house." "You wouldn't dare." My father roared, "Watch me." I left these words behind, turned around and walked out, never looking back. Behind me, my mother's hysterical screaming and cursing echoed, along with the sound of things being smashed. Leaving the hospital, I went directly to the law office. Lawyer Wilson listened to my account and nodded approvingly. "Miss Moore, you handled that very well. Stay calm and don't let their emotional manipulation affect you." "Will they pay the money back?" I asked. Lawyer Wilson adjusted his glasses. "Legally speaking, they must. After you became an adult, your parents had no obligation to support you. And likewise, you had no obligation to cover all household expenses while they were still capable of working. Every large non-gift payment you made for the family can legally be recovered. But they'll definitely try to dodge responsibility. That is expected." Lawyer Wilson handed me a glass of water. "That is why we're going through legal procedures. Once the court makes its judgment, if they don't comply, we can apply for enforcement. We can freeze their bank accounts, seize their property, even put them on the list of dishonest debtors." Hearing this made me feel much more at ease. "That house," I hesitated. "The house is key." Lawyer Wilson immediately understood what I meant. "You said you contributed to the down payment and you've been paying the monthly mortgage. Do you have records of those transfers?" "Yes, every single transaction." "Then we're in good shape." Lawyer Wilson said confidently, "We can claim your share of that property. In the worst-case scenario, we'd divide the property and auction it, then distribute the proceeds proportionally." After settling everything at the law office, I left. It was already getting dark. I wandered aimlessly through the streets. My phone rang. It was my uncle again. I answered. "Sage. What did you do to your parents? Your mother just called me, crying so hard she could barely breathe. She says you are going to sue them and steal their house." My uncle's tone was full of accusation. "Uncle, this is my family business." "Family business? You are driving your parents to their deaths, and you call it family business. Do you know your sister stopped her live streaming to take care of your mother in the hospital, and you went and hired a lawyer to sue your own parents? Where did all your education go?" I stopped walking and looked at my blurry reflection in a shop window. "Uncle, do you remember when I was 4 years old, I was hit by a car and broke my leg trying to save Emma?" The other end of the line suddenly went silent. This incident was a taboo subject in our family. No one ever brought it up voluntarily. I was disabled, and they always said I owed Emma for that. So the good food had to go to Emma, those were her special meals. New clothes had to go to Emma because she needed to look good on camera. The opportunity to go to Emma too, because she was more promising than me. When I started working, my entire salary had to be handed over to compensate them for the hardship of raising me and to support my sister's career. "Uncle, tell me, what exactly did I owe them? So much that I had to spend my entire life paying it back." I finished saying all these things that had been bottled up in my heart for years, my voice trembling slightly with emotion. My uncle sighed deeply on the other end. "Sage, I know you feel wronged, but they are your parents after all. So I am supposed to live like a beast of burden, like a personal ATM machine." "That is not what I meant." "Then what do you mean?" I pressed. "That I should continue to endure until they drain every last drop of blood from me, then throw me away like a used rag." My uncle was speechless. "Sage, don't be so extreme. Family members, can't you just talk things through? I talked for 20 years. Did they ever listen? I did not want to waste any more words with him. Uncle, if you called to convince me to give up, then don't bother. My decision will not change. I hung up and crouched down on the roadside, hugging myself. The night wind was cold, making my eyes sting. I did not cry. I just felt that the past 20-some years of my life had been like a nightmare I could not wake up from. Now dawn was finally breaking. My phone vibrated again with a text message from an unknown number. Sage, you poisonous woman, you'll get what is coming to you. I won't let you get away with this. It was Emma. She had changed her number to curse at me. I looked at those vicious words and typed on my screen. Instead of wasting time texting me insults, you should think about where next month's rent and utilities are coming from. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I've already cancelled the automatic payment bank card. Enjoy your fancy meals. Then block. They would never find their perfect punching bag again. I stood up, brushed the dust off my clothes, and walked into a brightly lit restaurant. I ordered the most expensive steak on the menu. From today forward, I was going to start having my own special meals. Just for myself, the following days were surprisingly peaceful. My parents and Emma did not come to cause trouble at my company again, nor did they change numbers to call or text me. It was as if they had vanished from the face of the earth. But beneath this peaceful facade, I knew a storm was brewing. On Friday afternoon, I received a call from my lawyer. Miss Moore, we've received a response from the other side. They agreed to pay back the money. Lawyer Wilson's tone was very calm. They've hired their own lawyer and rejected all our demands. Moreover, they're counter-suing you, demanding that you fulfill your filial support obligations. I was stunned. Support obligations. They're only in their early 50s. Perfectly healthy with working hands and feet. Yes. Their claim is that they don't have a stable source of income while you have stable earnings. So as their daughter, you should reasonably cover their living expenses. This was absolutely shameless beyond belief. Will the law support them? I asked urgently. That depends on the specific circumstances of the trial. Generally speaking, when parents still have working capacity, such demands rarely receive absolute support from the court. But clearly they're trying to wear you down with litigation, making you too exhausted to fight. I understand. I took a deep breath. Lawyer Wilson, then, let's proceed with our plan. I will not compromise. We'll actively prepare for the case. After hanging up, I felt a wave of exhaustion. I had still underestimated the extent of their shamelessness. Not only did they not want to pay back the money, they wanted me to continue being their cash cow. In the name of the law. During the weekend, I did not stay at the hotel. I started looking online for apartments to buy. I needed a home that truly belonged to me. A place where there would be no arguments, no exploitation, only warmth and peace. I found a small apartment in the city center. It was beautifully decorated and conveniently located. Most importantly, the total price was within my budget range. I immediately contacted the real estate agent and arranged to view the property the next day. The next morning, I met the landlord. She was a very kind woman named Patricia. She told me this apartment was originally prepared as a wedding gift for her daughter. But after graduation, her daughter decided to stay and develop her career in California. So she decided to sell it. The apartment was well maintained, fully furnished with appliances, practically move-in ready. I was very satisfied. I signed the intent contract on the spot and paid the deposit. Walking out of the apartment building, I felt like even the sunlight was brighter. I would soon have my own home. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I thought it might be Emma again and almost hung up directly, but for some reason I answered anyway. Hello, is this Sage? The voice on the other end sounded familiar, but I could not place it immediately. Yes, this is she. May I ask who is calling? This is Mrs. Thompson, your neighbor from across the hall. You remember me, don't you, Mrs. Thompson? I remembered her. She was a very caring person who used to bring me homemade cookies when I came home late from work. Mrs. Thompson, hello. What can I do for you, dear? You need to come back and see what is happening. Your family, something terrible has happened at your house. Mrs. Thompson's voice sounded extremely anxious. Your sister beat up your parents. My brain went buzz. Emma beat up our parents. How was that possible? Wasn't she their precious golden child? Mrs. Thompson, are you sure you are not mistaken? I could not believe what I was hearing. How could I be mistaken? I saw it with my own eyes. Mrs. Thompson spoke rapidly and urgently. Just now, your sister was screaming at the top of her lungs in the house, apparently angry that your mother's cooking wasn't good enough, and then she got into a fight with your parents. I heard all kinds of crashing and banging inside, so I rushed over to knock on the door. When your sister opened the door with red eyes, she yelled at me to get lost. I saw your father covering his face, and there seemed to be blood between his fingers. Your mother was sitting on the floor crying. Sage, you need to come back quickly, or someone's going to get seriously hurt. After hanging up, I stood there with cold hands and feet. Emma, that girl who could not even open a bottle cap and always needed someone to take care of her, had actually physically attacked our parents. Over a meal. A meal that was no longer lavish. I immediately took a taxi toward home. I was not worried about them. I just wanted to see with my own eyes what this seemingly harmonious family, once sustained by my support, would look like after it collapsed without me. The taxi stopped at the familiar building downstairs. I paid the fare and quickly walked into the building. The door to our home was slightly ajar, just like when I went to the hospital last time. Only this time, instead of vigorous cursing coming from inside, there was suppressed crying. It was my mother's voice. I pushed open the door. The living room was a complete mess. Food was scattered all over the floor. Dishes were broken into countless pieces, and chairs were overturned. My mother sat among the broken pieces on the floor, her hair disheveled, crying while picking up vegetable leaves from the ground. My father sat on the sofa, half his face swollen high, with a bloody scratch running from his eye to his chin, shocking to see. When he saw me, his expression was complex, showing anger, shame, but mostly a kind of powerless defeat. Emma was not in the living room. Her bedroom door was tightly shut. Where is she? I asked, my voice dry. My mother looked up, saw me, and cried even harder. You still know to come back. Look what this house has become. Look what you've done to us. She blamed everything on me. My father spoke hoarsely. Your sister, she has lost her mind. I walked to Emma's bedroom door and knocked. There was no response from inside. I pushed hard and the door opened. Emma was sitting in front of her streaming equipment, facing the mirror, crying while applying makeup. On the table were various expensive cosmetics she had recently bought, along with a half-eaten takeout meal in packaging from an upscale Japanese restaurant. Hearing the sound, she saw me in the mirror and spun around suddenly. What are you looking at? Are you satisfied now? She screamed at me, her eye makeup smeared from crying, making her look like a clown. This family has become like this, and it is all your fault. Looking at her, I suddenly felt very sad. My fault? I asked back. Did I make you beat up our parents? Did I make you live like this? If you hadn't taken all the money away, would the family have become like this? Would Mom be unable to make even one decent meal? Would I be mocked by my biggest supporter, saying I can't even afford food? Her logic was still the same as before, self-serving and selfish. So you physically attacked them? I didn't, she screamed. Dad hit me first. He called me worthless, said I can't do anything but spend money. What right does he have to say that about me? I worked so hard streaming, and it is all for who? Looking at her hysterical appearance, I felt only strangeness. This sister who had always been sweet and adorable in front of me was hiding this kind of face. I did not want to argue with her anymore. I took out my phone and photographed the mess in the living room and her crazy expression. Then I turned to my parents and said, "I am taking the house. If you won't give me cash for my share, then wait for the court to auction it. As for the grudges between you and my sister, that is your family business and has nothing to do with me. From now on, whether you live or die, don't come looking for me again." With that, I left this suffocating place without looking back. I sent the photos I had just taken to my lawyer. "Lawyer Wilson, here is new evidence." In the following days, I threw myself completely into buying the apartment and handling work transitions. I had already submitted my resignation to the company. Although Manager Johnson tried repeatedly to persuade me to stay, I was determined to leave. I wanted to leave this city, change to a completely new environment, and start a new life. The manager finally agreed and gave me a quite generous severance package. The procedures for the new apartment also went exceptionally smoothly. Patricia and I got along very well, and after learning about my situation, she voluntarily gave me some concessions on the price. The day I got the keys to my new home, standing in the empty living room, I felt unprecedented peace of mind. This was my home, a safe haven that belonged only to me. The court summons also arrived. The trial date was set for 1 month later. My parents' side went completely quiet. I did not inquire about their situation anymore. For me, they were already in the past. I started packing my luggage, preparing to move. In the old rental room there was not much stuff. Most of it was just daily necessities. Those old clothes and old items they had graciously given me. I did not take a single piece. I packed them all up and threw them in the dumpster downstairs. On moving day, I hired a moving company. Several workers moved efficiently and quickly loaded all my belongings onto the truck. I took one last look at this small room where I had lived for several years, closed the door, and left without any nostalgia. Although my new home was not large, every part of it was exactly as I liked. I bought a reclining chair I had always wanted, a whole wall of bookshelves, and a set of exquisite bone china dinnerware. I began learning to cook, not to serve others anymore, but to please myself. I learned to make various complex dishes, then arrange them on the most beautiful plates and place them on the dining table to enjoy slowly by myself. My first real special meal was beef Wellington. The pastry was baked to a golden color, and when cut open, the fillette inside was an appealing pink. I poured myself a glass of red wine and solemnly said to myself, "Sage, welcome home." Life settled into a routine that was peaceful and beautiful. I found a new job with higher pay and less stress than before. I started working out, took yoga classes, and my physical and mental state kept improving. Before, because of the scars on my legs, I never dared to wear anything shorter than knee length, but now, I did not care. That scar was not my shame, but a medal left by my foolish past. It reminded me never again to hurt myself for unworthy people and things. One evening, I received a call from Mrs. Thompson. "Sage, how are you doing in your new place?" "Pretty well, Mrs. Thompson. Thank you for asking." "That is good, that is good." Mrs. Thompson paused, her tone becoming somewhat hesitant. "There is something I don't know if I should tell you." "Please go ahead, it is fine, your sister Emma. It seems something has happened to her." My heart sank involuntarily. What happened to her? A few days ago, wasn't she arguing with someone online? Apparently one of her big supporters said she was scamming money and demanded she pay him back. Mrs. Thompson sighed. "Well, today that man showed up at your door." "Showed up at the door?" "Yes. He brought several people with him looking fierce and menacing. Mrs. Thompson's voice dropped low as if afraid someone might hear. They were kicking and cursing at your door, demanding your sister pay back the money. Your parents tried to stop them and they got beaten up too. Your father with his old bones couldn't take that kind of beating and collapsed right there. I was the one who called the police. Both police and ambulance came. Where are they now? Your parents were taken to the hospital and your sister was taken away by the police. I heard, it seems like fraud charges. This word coming from Mrs. Thompson's mouth made me feel somewhat dazed. Emma, that Emma who had been pampered like a princess by the whole family. That Emma who was sweet and charming in her live streams, calling everyone Big Brother, had become a fraud suspect. Sage, I know you shouldn't have to deal with them anymore, but your parents are at the hospital with no one by their sides. It is quite pitiful. Mrs. Thompson said carefully. I was silent for a moment. Mrs. Thompson, thank you for telling me this. I know what I need to do. After hanging up, I sat on the sofa for a long time without moving. Pitiful. Perhaps, but it was all their own doing. I opened my phone and booked a flight to a neighboring state, not to go back and see them, but because the new company I had interviewed with was located there. It was time for me to start my new life. As for them, the police, the hospital, and the law would give them their final destination. The next day, I dragged my suitcase and boarded a flight to a new city. When the plane took off, I looked at the city outline growing smaller outside the window, feeling complete peace in my heart. Goodbye, prison of the first half of my life. The new company was a foreign enterprise with a very open work atmosphere. The colleagues were all very friendly, and my supervisor was a capable professional woman named Miranda who took good care of me. I quickly adapted to the new work and life. On weekends I would explore this unfamiliar city, visiting museums, art galleries and attending concerts. My life only truly began to unfold its brilliant tapestry after I left that family. 1 month later the court hearing date arrived. I took leave and returned to that familiar city. But I did not go home or to the hospital. I went directly to the courthouse. In the courtroom I saw my parents again. They looked 10 years older than they had a month ago. My father's face was still bandaged and he walked with a limp. My mother's hair had turned mostly white, her eyes vacant. When she saw me, there was neither anger nor cursing, only numbness. They had not hired a lawyer. They probably did not have the money. When the judge asked if they agreed to my demands, my father opened his mouth but could not speak for a long time. Suddenly my mother spoke, her voice hoarse as if scraped by sandpaper. I looked at her with some surprise. We agreed to sell the house and pay her back the money. She looked at me, her eyes containing something I had never seen before, something resembling pleading. But can you go see your sister? She has been detained, they say. She might be sentenced. We want to see her, but they won't let us. Sage, she is your sister. You have to save her. You can't abandon her. As she spoke, she was about to stand up from the defendant's seat and walk toward me. The bailiff immediately stepped forward to stop her. Looking at her tearful appearance, I felt no emotion at all. I spoke coldly, Your Honor, I do not agree to her additional conditions. My demand is simply to recover the money that belongs to me. As for her fate, it has nothing to do with me. The judge struck the gavel. The defendant's emotional appeals are irrelevant to this case. The verdict is now announced. The final judgment completely supported my demands. The court ruled that my parents must repay the $587,600 I had advanced within 1 month of the judgment taking effect. The property would undergo judicial auction, with the proceeds first used to repay my funds and the remainder distributed to them. Walking out of the courthouse, my parents chased after me. Sage, stop right there. My father called from behind. I did not slow my pace. He limped after me and blocked my path. You can have the money, you can have the house, but you must get your sister out. His tone was no longer the entitled command from before, but carried a hint of negotiation. Looking at him, I found it incredibly ironic. Why should I? Because I am your father. Now you remember you are my father. I laughed. When I sent you money every month to support your entire family. You were my father when I was sick and wanted a bowl of soup, but you were making lobster bisque for Emma. Were you my father then? When I was tracked down by Emma's creditors and you got beaten bloody, you still thought about having me save her. Did you ever think about what you would do if those creditors came after me instead? My series of questions left him speechless, his face alternating between pale and flushed. My mother was crying beside us. Sage, we know we were wrong. We really know we were wrong. Just forgive us this once. Your sister is still young. She can't go to prison. Her life would be ruined. Her ruin has nothing to do with me. I looked at them with cold eyes. When you ruined my life for her sake, did you think about me? You said my legs were inconvenient and made me give up my college admission to her. You said I wasn't as pretty as her and made me give her all the nice clothes. You said my health was poor and only let me eat leftovers while all the fresh food was made into special meals for her. Now you want me to save her. Don't you find that ridiculous? My words were like knives, stabbing them and stabbing myself. All the grievances and resentment I had deliberately suppressed over the years exploded out in this moment. Let me tell you, it is impossible. Emma chose her own path. Whether it is fraud or prison, she deserves what she gets. And you should pay the price for your favoritism and selfishness. I walked around them and strode forward. Behind me came my mother's heartbreaking wails. Sage, you have no heart. You'll get your comeuppance. Comeuppance wasn't the first half of my life the comeuppance you gave me, now. I just did not want it anymore. The house was quickly sold through judicial auction. The price was somewhat below market value, but it was enough to repay my $500,000+. The remaining money was frozen by the court to pay for my father's medical bills and their future living expenses. The day I received the money, I gave Lawyer Wilson a big bonus. Thank you, Lawyer Wilson. Without you, I might never have escaped from that quagmire. Lawyer Wilson did not accept it. This is what I should do. Miss Moore, congratulations on starting your new life. Yes, new life. I used that money to install a small home theater in my new home and bought the best oven. I completely fell in love with baking. Watching flour and butter transform into exquisite delicious pastries in my hands gave me an incomparable sense of achievement. I no longer had to eat those cold, picked over scraps from others. I could make the most wonderful meals in the world for myself. As for Emma's aftermath, I heard about it from Mrs. Thompson. She was ultimately sentenced to 3 years for fraud. The amount involved was huge, and since her biggest supporter would not settle, the sentence was quite heavy. My parents sold everything valuable in the house to try to hire her a good lawyer, but it was nowhere near enough. They wanted to find me, but I had changed my phone number and moved away from the original city. Reportedly, on the day of sentencing, my mother fainted from crying in the courtroom. My father's hair turned completely white overnight. 2 people who had once treated me like a thorn in their side and spoiled their younger daughter rotten finally tasted what it was like to be betrayed by everyone and left helpless. Mrs. Thompson sighed on the phone. Your parents are in quite a pitiful state now. No house. They're renting a tiny basement apartment. Your father can't find good work with his bad leg, so he is working as a security guard in a residential complex. Your mother stocks shelves at a supermarket. Together they make just a few $1,000s a month. They used to eat meat every meal. Now they have to think twice about buying a piece of meat. They're always telling the neighbors how much they regret it, how sorry they are to you. Saying if they had treated you better back then, they wouldn't be in this situation now. I listened quietly without saying anything. Regret. What they regretted was not the harm they had caused me in the past. They regretted losing an ATM machine they could exploit indefinitely. If I had not awakened, had not resisted, they would have continued to suck my blood with peace of mind until I was completely drained. Sage, if you are available, would you come back to see them? Mrs. Thompson could not help but make this request. Mrs. Thompson, I interrupted her. I will never go back. They have hands and feet, they won't starve. As for the rest, that is their own life, and they should be responsible for it themselves. My life has already started over. After hanging up, I turned off my phone and walked into the kitchen. Today I made myself a meal with 9 dishes and 1 soup. Lobster bisque, beef Wellington, pan-seared salmon, cheese-baked lobster, all my favorites. Each dish was carefully plated on my favorite dinnerware. I took a photo and posted it on my new social media. I did not add any caption, but I knew everyone who saw it would understand. This was a feast for one. A celebration dinner I had been waiting 20+ years to throw for myself. After dinner, I received a video call. It was from my supervisor Miranda. Grace, my English name. Are you busy? What is up, Miranda? I want to introduce you to a friend. Miranda smiled and turned the camera towards someone beside her. A tall, handsome man appeared on screen, wearing a sharp suit with an elegant demeanor. Hello, I am Christopher, Miranda's friend. She often mentions you, saying you are a very excellent and strong woman. His voice was pleasant, deep like a cello. I smiled somewhat shyly. Hello. Later I learned that Christopher was Miranda's childhood friend. A surgeon. That video call was Miranda's intentional setup for a blind date. From work to life, from movies to travel. I discovered we had many common interests. He respected me very much and never asked about my past. He only said, I know you as you are now. That is enough for me. Being with him, I felt very relaxed and comfortable. The scars on my legs were not flaws in his eyes. Somewhat self-consciously trying to hide my legs, he crouched down, gently held my ankle, and pointed to that scar. I think it is cool. It makes you different from others. It proves your courage. In that moment, the last defensive wall in my heart completely collapsed. I had once thought my life would forever be shrouded in the shadow of that family. I had once thought I would never love anyone again or have happiness. But now, Christopher's appearance was like a beam of light, illuminating all my darkness. A year later, Christopher and I got engaged. The engagement party was simple, with just a few close friends. As our matchmaker raised a toast at the gathering. To Grace, to your rebirth from the ashes, shining brilliantly. To you finally throwing off the burdens of the past and finding your own happiness. I smiled, my eyes somewhat moist. Yes, rebirth from the ashes, no words could be more fitting. After our engagement, Christopher took me home to meet his parents. They were both university professors, learned and gentle. They did not ask anything about my family background. Christopher's mother, Rebecca, took my hand and said warmly, Sage, from now on this is your home, we are all your family. In that moment, I felt the warmth of home that I had never experienced in over 20 years. So this was how family members could be, so warm, so respectful and caring toward each other. On the eve of our wedding, I received a package with no sender information. I opened it to find a thick photo album and a letter. The letter was in my mother's handwriting, crooked and shaky. Sage, when you read this letter, your father and I should already be gone. My heart jumped. We have a serious illness and no money for treatment. We don't want to burden anyone anymore. This photo album contains pictures of you from childhood to now. Although we treated you poorly, you are still our daughter. We know we wronged you. If there is a next life, we will definitely make it up to you. Your sister is inside and reportedly doing quite well. She learned a trade, and the prison leaders all praise her. Maybe for her too this is a new beginning. We don't ask for your forgiveness, we only hope that you can live well in the future. Forget about us. At the end of the letter were 2 names signed crookedly. I flipped through the photo album page by page. From my black and white baby photos, to my elementary school pictures with a red scarf, to my professional headshots after starting work. Many photos I had forgotten when they were taken. So they had once preserved traces of my growth too. Only these traces had been covered with too thick a layer of dust by the years that followed. I closed the album without crying. My heart was very peaceful. Death for them might be a kind of liberation. For me, it was also a complete conclusion. I put the album and letter in the deepest part of my closet. Then I put on my wedding dress. The next day, I married Christopher. At the wedding, I walked across the sunlit lawn holding his arm. I saw the love and determination in his eyes. I knew that from this moment on, my life would be a completely new chapter. All those past hurts and pains would become passing clouds. And I, Sage Moore, could finally live once for myself. Live beautifully, live brilliantly, live fearlessly. My special meals had only just begun. That is the story for today. Hope you enjoyed this incredible story. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe for more captivating stories like this, and don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you for being here. See you next time.